Good afternoon, respected teachers. Myself, Dr. Harsh Kumar Pandey, Senior Resident from Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology. I will be presenting a case of remote L-kappa from non-facing sinus, challenges in diagnosis and its management. So this 5-month-old sick baby who presented to our hospital with severe respiratory distress without any sinuses, child having history of poor feeding. On presentation, child was tachypneic with severe subcostal and intercostal retractions. All the distal pulses were palpable with of low volume. So this history of this child begins by the age of 6 of his life when he started developing symptoms of heart failure. By the age of 16 week of life, child acquired the COVID-19 infection, and subsequently the child was labeled as a case of severe airway dysfunction due to post-viral myocarditis sequelae. And he was elsewhere treated with the IVIG, steroids, and other symptomatic treatments. He was subsequently referred to us for further evaluation and management. This is the first ECG at our hospital showing sinus rhythm with Q wave in the lead 1, AVL, and also the T wave inversion in the lead V5 and V6. We can also see here there is a QS pattern in the lead V2. This is the first four-chamber view showing the dilated left ventricle with hyperechoic anterolateral papillary muscle. There is a hypokinesia of the apical, apicoseptal, and the apicolateral wall of the left ventricle. In the color Doppler, we can see here there's a moderate mitral regurgitation. So till this point, history of heart failure by the age of 6 weeks of life, ECG showing the Q wave in the lead 1, AVL, with the T wave inversion in the same leads, and the RWA of the LAD and L6 territory gives us a clue that L-kappa could be a probable diagnosis. So at this point of time, we need to know what is the coronary anatomy. Normally, the RC is originating from the right coronary sinus, and the LCA is originating from the left coronary sinus. So keeping this picture in our mind, in the short axis view, we can see here the RCA is originating from the right coronary sinus, and there is a one tubular structure nearby the left coronary sinus, but there was a no flow through this structure. And also nearby the facing pulmonary sinus, there was a no coronary artery arising. So we need the more focused assessment for the origin of the LCA. And we can see here the LCA was actually arising from the pulmonary artery. So the 2 point to be emphasized here is that although there was a tubular structure nearby the left coronary sinus, but there was a no flow through this structure. One can miss the diagnosis of L-kappa if they are assuming that this is the left coronary artery. But one has to demonstrate that there should be some flow through this structure. There was a no flow through this structure. The second point to emphasize here is that the ostium of the LC was originated from the non-facing pulmonary sinus. Because of that, the surgeon will have a different management options because they cannot directly relocate this LCA into the aorta. So in our case, the RC was originating from the right coronary sinus and the LCA was originating from the non-facing pulmonary sinus. So this is a modified long axis view showing the same thing. The LCA was originated from the pulmonary artery and dividing into the LAD and LCS. And this is the zoomed short axis view showing the LC originating from the non-facing pulmonary artery and dividing into the LAD and LCX. So for any L-kappa patient, we are having different options like direct transplantation of the LCA into the aorta, Takeuchi repair, and we can do the aortocoronary bypass. But what is the problem in our case? Our case is having remote L-kappa. Like in this case, the ostium of the LCA is far away with respect to aorta. So we need a tubular extension so that we can relocate this LCA into the aorta. So how did we did the correction in our case? Initially, we did a transaction from of the MPA from the proximal part, and we create a tubular extension with the help of the pulmonary flap, and then we relocate the LCA into the aorta, and subsequently we reattach MPA to the proximal part. So the take-home message from our case is that the history and ECG signs will give us a clue for the diagnosis of L-kappa. The echo findings of L-kappa like hyperechoic anterolateral papillary muscle. There will be a RWA of the LAD and L6 territory. There could be a moderate to severe mitral regurgitation because of the involvement of the papillary muscle. There could be a collateral at the level of IVS, but in our case, there was no collaterals. LC will not be demonstrated from the aortic sinus and the flow into the PA from the coronary artery. But in our case, the flow was from the PA and into the coronary because there was a severe PAH. In infant with the severe LV dysfunction and with the mitral regurgitation, always we have to rule out the possibility of L-kappa. The L-kappa originating with the non-freezing sinus is a rare entity, and origin of the coronary must be accurately traced for the planning of surgery. An echo as a single modality can confirm the diagnosis. Thank you.